Hey, what's up guys? We're over halfway through the year, and you know what that means? Another new champion. Akshan is the latest champion to hit Summoner's Rift in League of Legends. He is an incredibly mobile champion with about a billion dashes, can resurrect his allies, become camouflaged, and I can already tell he will be annoying to play against. In this guide, we will go over the basics of Akshan in League of Legends, including Akshan runes, Akshan build, general tips and tricks and much more. Let's go on to the first part of the video, ability breakdown. To start this how-to guide, we must first break down Akshan's abilities. Note that this information and the numbers in this guide may slightly differ as they're based on his PBE stats. With his passive, Dirty Fighting, at every 3 hits from his attacks and abilities against champions, Akshan will deal bonus damage and gain a shield. When Akshan attacks, he will fire an additional attack that deals reduced damage. If you cancel his bonus attack, he gains movement speed instead. This is an interesting ability, but will be very helpful in trades with the enemy. I think it's a good passive overall. His second ability, which is Avengerang. He throws a boomerang that deals damage and reveals enemies. It deals damage on its way there and its way back. Every time it hits an enemy, the range is extended, and using this ability applies his passive. Now comes interesting part, which is Akshan's second ability, which is Going Rogue. Akshan passively marks enemy champions as scoundrels when they kill his allies. If you kill a scoundrel, Akshan will revive the allies it has killed, gain bonus gold, and remove all marks. Upon activation, Akshan enters camouflage and gains movement speed and mana regen as he moves towards the scoundrels. Akshan quickly loses camouflage while he isn't in a brush or near a terrain obstacle. This passive is quite insane. I don't like this in the game. It feels like it can be broken. We shall see how it works out, but he is going to be insane to play against. His third ability is Heroic Swing, in which Akshan throws a hook into an obstacle on the ground and repeatedly attacks the nearest enemy as he swings. You can let go of his rope whenever you want, or when colliding with champions or terrain obstacles. If he gets a kill assist, this ability's cooldown is reset. Now his ultimate, which is Comeuppance. Akshan targets an enemy champion and begins accumulating bullets. When you cast his ability again, he fires all stored bullets, dealing damage based on missing health to the first champion, minion, or structure hit. It's a pretty interesting ultimate, and I think it will be pretty cool. Before we go to builds, first we will look at his strengths and weakness. Strengths. Akshan has tons of mobility thanks to his Heroic Swing E. It can allow him to move around the lane with ease and get onto the enemy laner quickly. Akshan can bring back his dead allies if he can kill the enemy who killed them. This is great, especially in the later stages of the game, where death timers are quite long. His Going Rogue W allows him to get out of sticky situations and allow him to be camouflaged for a long period of time if he stays near a wall. Now let's look at his weaknesses. Akshan doesn't do too well into ranged matchups and champs with easy to land CC, as he will be unable to use his Heroic Swing E aggressively. His ultimate Comeuppance R can be interrupted pretty easily. You have to be very careful when trying to use it, otherwise the enemy will cancel its channel. Versus poker champions with a lot of wave clear, it is going to be near impossible for you to roam and help your allies, as the enemy will keep you pushed in or take your tower while you're roaming. I think this is enough, as now you know his abilities and strengths. Now it's time to choose whether you play. This is a test build for Akshan. Like we talked about previously, there is no best setup for him yet. Check back frequently to see if this build has changed for Akshan, which will be in comments. Now for the runes. Take Conqueror, which triggers on successful skill combos and trades, dealing bonus damage to affected enemies and increasing her burst damage. Then take Hunter, Vampirism, which grants an adaptive bonus 2% physical or magic vamp, and Unique Champion Takedowns adds 2 AD with 1% physical vamp or 4 AP with 1% magic vamp. Then Adaptive Carapace, which provides with bonus HP and increases defense when HP drops to below 50% based on the damage type you took more of over the last 60 seconds. And at last take Hunter, Genius, that grants additional ability haste for each unique takedown. While Akshan's abilities are more inclined to be a marksman champion, his main role will be as an assassin on the mid lane instead of the bot lane, with both his summoner spells being focused on giving him tools to move around, rotate, and delete enemy champions. Take Flash, which allows you to have more offensive options when entering combat, as well as helps you escape from dangerous situations. And then take Ignite. You can use it as a tool to finish off enemies in case they want to escape with low health and to prevent strong healing effects from your enemies. Now for the best items for Akshan. His items will be focused on maximizing his attack damage and critical strikes, putting mostly AD objects into his comp, and exploiting his power and durability by putting lifesteal artifacts into his comp. Take Blade of the Ruined King, which increases damage and attack speed, plus its passive allows you to inflict additional physical damage on each hit based on the enemy's current health. As a bonus, it allows you to steal your enemy's movement speed. Then Gluttonous Greaves grants Omnivampirism, giving you a better chance of survival thanks to its lifesteal. We recommend using them with Mercury Enchant for crowd control. Then Infinity Edge, that increases the chance and damage of critical attacks, dramatically increasing DPS. Next Bloodthirster, which grants a bonus 15% physical vamp, and physical vamp overheals you, generating a shield that absorbs 40 to 320 damage that decays out of combat over 10 seconds. Guardian Angel, as you know, its revive effect allows you to fully attack squarely without risking giving away a kill along the way. As a last item, or even to change any of the previous ones depending on what you need, you can choose between Mortal Reminder for tank enemies, Ginsu's Rage Blade for stackable attack speed, Maw Malmortius against AP enemy comps, Rapid Fire Cannon for attack speed, critical rate, and energized attacks, Runan's Hurricane for attack speed, critical rate, and additional on-hit effect. Now after this build I will show you proper skill order of it. Right now you can see it at the screen, I believe. Now we will look at how to play tips. Arriving from the unpunished streets of Shurima, Akshan will spring into action within the Wild Rift to demonstrate all of his training as part of the Sentinels of Light, taking down his opponents at a distance with striking precision as he fights his way in search of revenge. To use his skill set to perfection, it requires you to focus a lot on everything around you in order to fully exploit his potential. Starting with his Avengerang, you can take advantage of waves of minions as well as groups of enemy champions in team fights to use it to the best extent. One of the most essential tools you will have at hand will be the passive of going rogue, so if you have the opportunity to redeem and rescue your teammates from perdition, don't hesitate to attack the enemy marked with the most stacks with everything you have. Akshan's most controversial ability, Heroic Swing, allows you to turn any confrontation around by being able to fleetingly reach any enemy, regardless of whether they are out of your vision range, as well as allowing you to get out of any dangerous situation while you inflict a little damage around you. Just try not to abuse the Heroic Swing, since a false move or a bad decision can leave you on the ropes against the opposing team. And we suggest avoiding some duels with melee champions, as his escape windows could be very limited. His ultimate, Commupance, can be used in very different ways by allowing you to clean waves of minions just as Lucian does, as well as it can be used in conjunction with your Heroic Swing, so the chances of ending any opponent without hope are more than profitable. Being such a flexible champion, Akshan can make great rotations towards the sidelines without the enemies expecting him or being able to respond in time, so if you are looking for an assassin with many fighting and survivability qualities, as well as incredible utility, the Rogue Sentinel will be your best option. Now for his laning phase. So the laning phase with Akshan isn't too hard to follow in terms of what your goals are, how to play the lane out, and what you should know coming into the lane. Riot hyped him up to be a super hyper roaming assassin ADC, and only some of it is true. Akshan is an ADC, and he is an assassin when he reaches his power specs, but he is not a super hyper roamer like Katarina. If he roams once or twice it's game over for the rest of the game, because you'll be too behind as a champion, since as we've mentioned before you're still an ADC at the end of the day. Champions like Katarina can get away with reckless roaming and leaving lane 10 times because they're designed as melee assassins and have so much base damage that they don't need to scale or farm up a lot compared to Akshan. With that being said, when you play the lane you're going to be wanting to look for short quick trades and avoid long trades because you have very low attack speed and you want to go in and out with your auto plus passive dirty fighting plus Avengerang combo. Also keep in mind, it is important to remember in case you've forgotten that if you auto once and move before the passive dirty fighting auto comes in, then you will get extra movement speed for 1 second, which can help close the gap if the enemy is trying to stay out of range from your autos. You can auto then move then auto then passive dirty fighting auto, or auto then move then Avengerang then auto then passive dirty fighting auto. Double autos with the passive dirty fighting take longer than the short one auto and doesn't give you the movement speed, but it does more damage, so figure out if you want the MS or the extra damage when going into these trades. Short trades is the plan, and there's multiple ways to do short trades with and for last mid game plus team fighting. When the mid game comes over then you'll want to leave the mid lane And allow your bot laner to farm it, because bot laners will be the easiest people to kill, and they need the shortness of mid lane to farm safely. You'll be farming one of the side waves top or bot until you're needed for objectives, grouping, invading, etc. Be ready on standby for anything that might happen, but be farming while you wait, so you're constantly getting stronger. If you see a free solo assassination, then feel free to go for that too if you're confident. Teamfighting will come down to you either making a quick assassination to start it off, or kiting it out like a normal ADC until they get lower, or you get a number advantage when your team outnumbers the enemy. X, 5v4, 3v2, 4v2, etc. In which you can start to pick them off one by one and use your E-heroic swing to get resets and keep chasing them. It's pretty hard to explain how you should use your abilities in teamfights to kite properly, so I have a couple clips here so you can watch, and hopefully you get the idea on how you're supposed to use this champion in teamfights. Final thoughts. The new champion looks pretty cool, to be honest. For me at least, it feels like Riot constantly wants to outdo themselves every time, which is fine, but it leaves a lot of players with a sour taste in their mouths. Akshan's kit is overloaded with stuff, and when you compare him to some older champions, it's like you're playing two different games. At the end of the day, Riot needs to step up on reworking, or to fix up older champions or tone down on how many things the new champions have in their kit. And for conclusion, Akshan hits live servers on patch 2.4. What do you think of him? Do you think he is fun to play as and against? Or will he be your go-to ban from here on out? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.